Hi, this is Dave from Singjia once again. I believe that anyone who are on the lookout for properties now have this burning question in you. Should I buy a property now or should I wait till the Covid-19 is over? And before we continue, if you have tuned in to the news on the 6th of May, MND had just released a temporary relief measures for the property industry. And how does this affect you? And how does this affect the property market in the next 6 months? And one of the measures that was mentioned on the 6th of May 2020 was the extension of ABSD remission period for the sale of matrimonial homes. Couples who have bought a second property on or before the 1st of June 2020 and need to sell off their first property within 6 months from the above dates may now send in an application to IRAS for an extension for another 6 months of grace period. And of course, all these are subjects to other qualifying conditions. This indeed is good news for many couples who have bought their second property but was hit by the safe distancing and circuit breaker during the period of 7th of April to 1st of June. And this resulted in them not being able to conduct physical viewings for their properties, thus leading to the delay of the sale of their first property. And to understand more about the measures, do DM us and we will be glad to help you. Alternatively, please click the link below. With the temporary measure in place for property industry, now let's go back to our question. Should I buy a property now or should I wait? If your current job is unstable, if you have just lost your job, and if you do not have at least 6 months to 1 year of mortgage reserves in your savings, the answer is no. However, on the other hand, if your employment is stable and you have enough reserves and savings, and best of all, and if you do not need any mortgage loan, last but not least, you have been waiting for a time like this to come, should you or should you not? Let me share with you 6 things today for you to consider. For the first 3 points, let's take a look at the past history of property market during crisis. Number 1, prices fell during the history of past crisis, but for only a short period of time. During the last global financial crisis, which happened in 2008 and 2009, the prices of home fell. But how did the Singaporeans responded to this crisis? And due to the price adjustments, new launches were launched at reasonable price. And amazingly, the sale volume actually went up. Singaporeans rushed in to purchase properties during this period. And in fact, based on statistics, almost 15,000 homes were transacted during this time. And new launches like Caspian and the Alexis were snapped up quickly. Number 2, most properties bought during crisis saw profits. And in the last crisis, people who purchased property, about 67% of them saw profits when we sold. An example would be, out of 10 homes, about 6 to 7 homes made profits when they are sold in the resale market years later. And in fact, the profit margins are higher than those who bought properties during the normal time. Number 3, lower chances of making losses for properties bought during crisis. There are people who are worried that they will make losses if they bought during crisis. To them, it's a risk. However, statistics have shown that people who bought during crisis, the chances of making a loss is lower as compared to when they bought during good times. The reasons could have been sellers are more open to negotiate during the time of crisis, and new homes are launched at a reasonable price as developer adjusted their expectation and did not increase their launch price. And number 4, mortgage rates are low during crisis due to the Covid-19. The American Federal Reserve has lowered the interest rate as part of a stimulus measures for our economy. What this means to Singaporeans is that Singapore property loan and borrowing rates will remain low, which spells good time for property owners to purchase a property and sign up a lower mortgage loan package. Click for the current mortgage rates. Number 5, underlying demand throughout history. Purchasers know that crisis is only temporary. It is not here to stay, and there are many purchasers who have been waiting for this period to come so they can enter the market. And these purchasers know that during crisis, the competition is lesser as there are fewer buyers in the market to compete over choice unit and properties. And property is also a long-term investment that buyers know that the price of the properties will hold up. Therefore, many of them have rushed in to purchase properties during this time. Guess what? In fact, as we are speaking now, more than 100 units have been transacted since the onset of circuit breaker in Singapore started on the 7th April 2020. And in fact, many properties are transacting every day. Number 6, how Singapore handled COVID-19. The Singapore government has taken swift actions to handle this crisis. And yes, even though the dormitory workers' infection numbers have increased, but Singapore has taken the initiative to test and to prevent rather than adopting the wait-and-see attitude. So the country can safely treat the infected patients and prevent more community spread in the nation. And the community spread in the nation has been in good control with all the measures that the government has put in place. And besides the measures to stop infections from spreading, the Singapore government is also quick to react to cushion the impact of COVID-19 with stimulus packages to help Singaporeans to tie through this difficult period. And when everything is over, where do you think foreigners will head to for investments? Especially buyers from China? In conclusion, with point number 1, prices fell, but only for a short period of time. Point number 2, most property bought during crisis made profits. Number 3, lower chances of making losses with property purchased during crisis. And number 4, low mortgage interest rates. Number 5, the underlying property demand. And point number 6, how Singapore handled COVID-19. Should you buy now or should you wait? The answer is yours to decide. Thank you for watching. Singjia would like to hear your comments and your thoughts too. Do DM us or leave a comment here for us. Last but not least, do keep a watch out for our next video on 1HDB 6 options to upgrade if you are looking to seize the opportunity during this pandemic and to take some actions in your property wealth journey. Do stay safe, do stay home. We'll see you real soon. Bye.